Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 13, The Descendants of Dhruva Mahārāja. So we are at text 36. We'll just go through briefly the translations. Yesterday was a very auspicious day. Yesterday was Nityananda Trayodashi, appearance day of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. So we are in this particular section. Sadasya Patayah Urchuhu. The head priest said, O king, in this life, we do not find any sinful activity even within your mind. Now, this is interesting, right? So, you are not in the least offensive. But we can see that in your previous life, you performed sinful activities due to which, in spite of you having all the qualifications, you have no son. So, this is the Sadasya Patayah. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the purpose of marriage is to beget children, beget son or daughter, and the son is necessary to deliver the fathers and the forefathers from the hellish conditions. That is the real meaning of word putra. So, putra means putrayati iti putra. So there is a hellish planet called as Pu, and one who saves one from that planet, trayati, putra, it is called as putra. Putrayati iti putra. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Chanakya Pandit, Putram vina graham shunyam, that without a son is, with the context of being a continuation of the Rajavamsha, but without a son or a daughter, married life is, purpose is to have children in the married life, right? That there is a idea that people, and of course this is very, very personal, and people may have their own these things. Like once a couple approached His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and they said that, Maharaj, we want to dedicate our life for the mission. Please give us benediction that we will remain without children. And Maharaj said, no, we cannot give this benediction. This will be a curse to you. And then he said, but I give you benediction that may you have lots of children. So ISKCON is evolving. And again, this is very personal and, case specific. But the general understanding is that, very, very general understanding for most of us is, one should try one's best to have kids in the family life. And nowadays we have a very simple understanding about it. We tell people as early as many, right? As early as many, because demography is going to be destiny. And there are many personalities who are vocal about it. There are many Jain sadhus who speak about, the Jains having just one child or having just two kids, like kind of thing. And there are many sadhvis, and they speak about all these things. Even in the Sanatan Dharma fold, there are many, many people who speak about having more children. China is speaking about having more children nowadays because of their one child policy. They suffered a lot. Text 32. O king, and here in the text 31, one can also see that how the karma affects. Not only this life's karma is going to affect, our previous life karma also going to affect. So, two things here. So one thing is whenever things go right or wrong, we just don't know why the things are going right or wrong. And therefore, it is always better to maintain on our own one's path, because we don't have those kind of people like this Sadasya who could see their this life and the previous life as well. So, what the karma effect? Second thing is karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. When we become devotee of the Lord, karma nirdahan has started. Karmani nirdahati. Prabhupada used to say, you clap your hands, in the Mahamantra, and your lines on the hands will change, right? Or we do observe such great days at Nityananda Trayodashi, Ekadashi, Ramanavami, they very severely, positively affect our karma cycles. So it is not a hopeless condition, but it takes time, and one should be aware because there are so many lives that we have lived, and we simply don't know that which karma is affecting us now. Text 32. O king, we wish all good fortune unto you. You have no son, but if we pray at once to the Supreme Lord and ask for a son, and if you execute the sacrifice for this purpose, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will fulfill your desire. So they ask, Tatha sadhya bhadram te, all good fortune unto you. Please pray to the Supreme Lord and through this sacrifice. Text 33. When Hari, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for a son, all the demigods will come with him and take their shares in the sacrifice. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, sacrifice is actually meant for samsiddhir haritoshanam, and demigods are automatically being part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam, when the Lord Hari is satisfied, everybody else is automatically satisfied. Text 34. The performance of the sacrifice under the karma kanda activities achieves the fulfillment of the desire for which one worships the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Supreme Lord gives all living entities within the material world full freedom to act on their own way. Lord just says, okay, try your way. But a devotee, instead of working on his own way, he realizes it is better to surrender unto him. So this is the realization of a devotee. Earlier we come to this realization, better we save lot of trouble and a lot of time. Anyway, thy will be done. And if the Lord's will is going to be done, then better to align ourselves happily, joyfully, gracefully with the will of the Supreme Lord. And this is possible under the guidance of the spiritual master. Devotee is devoid of all the kama, and therefore it's called as anyabhirashita shunyam. So, the devotee, being age appropriate, they have to be ambitious, but they will not pray for material things. But that doesn't mean they are not ambitious. Okay, so it's a delicate balance. Sometimes not ambitious, not anyabhirashita shunyam doesn't mean that we don't have anything to achieve. No, according to age appropriate, we have a lot of things to achieve. Students, 10th standard, 12th standard, they should aspire for very high rank, very high scores, and they should be happy with whatever happening. Of course, at that age, even praying to the Lord is perfectly fine, right? So they have things to achieve, but they are not, in a way, having that desire coming in the way of devotional service. Text 35. Thus, for the sake of a son for King Aṅga, they decided to offer oblation to Lord Vishnu, who is situated in the hearts of all living entities. Okay, so Shipi Vishtaya Vishnave. Shipi Vishtaya, unto the Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, they decided to offer. In the purport there, Srila Prabhupada explains about in a sacrificial fire, if the oblations are offered into the flames, Lord Vishnu is situated there in the form of the flames. And therefore, the Lord is known as Shipi Vishta. Right? So the sacrificial, Lord Vishnu is supposed to be situated at a couple of places. So one place is the sacrificial fire. Another thing is the mouth of the Brahmana. Right? And therefore, one should always try to invite the great brahmanas, especially brahmacharis and sannyasis, to one's home and try to feed them nicely, because this is where Lord Vishnu is supposed to be residing. And third, of course, is yatra gayanti mat bhakta tatra tisthami narada. That wherever devotees of the Lord, they are chanting the holy names and doing the Krishna katha, tatra tisthami narada, there the Lord is always situated. Easiest way is, but these also two are important ways. Having some sacrifice in our house once in 2-3 years. There are beautiful yagyas, nowadays we have a samskar department and devotees do Narasimha yagya, devotees do, and then team of devotee comes. They will, some of them will be doing kirtan, some of them will be doing the yagya, and there is a nice, the flames of the yagya, Shipavishtaya Vishnave. It's a very auspicious, elevating atmosphere. So now we come to text 36. Tasmat Purusha Uttasthau Hemamalyambara Hemamalyamalambaraha Hiranmayena Patrena Siddhamadaya Payasam. Translation.
As soon as the oblation was offered in the fire, a person appeared from the fire altar wearing a golden garland and a white dress. He was carrying a golden pot filled with rice boiled in milk. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So saying like this, as soon as the oblations were offered in the fire, personality appeared from the fire altar with a golden garland and the white dress. And he came with payasam, rice boiled in the milk. Okay, so payasam is a Bhagavatam word. Text 37. Savipranumato Raja Grihitva Anjalina Naudanam Avagraya Mudayuktaha Pradat Patnya Udaradhihi. Translation.
Translation. The king was very liberal, and after taking permission from the priest, he took the preparation in his joint palms, and after smelling it, he offered a portion to his wife. Purport. The word Uddara Diha is significant in this connection. The wife of the king, Sunita, was not fit to accept this benediction, yet the king was so liberal that without hesitation he offered to his wife the boiled rice in milk prasada received from the Yakyapurusha. Of course, everything is designed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As will be explained in later verses, this incident was not very favorable for the king. Since the king was very liberal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to increase his detachment from this material world, willed that a cruel son be born of the queen so that the king would have to leave home. As stated above, Lord Vishnu fulfills the desires of the karmis as they desire, but the Lord fulfills the desire of a devotee in a different way so that the devotee may gradually come to him. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Dadami bhakti-yogam tama yena mam upayanti te. The Lord gives the devotee the opportunity to make progress further and further so that he may come back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So the Udaradhi, the king, Udara king, after the permission, so this is the second time, right? He was very happy, but in great happiness, he was always obedient personality. So after taking permissions, he accepted the preparation in his joint palms, smelling it, offered the portion to his wife. Now, the king is called as Udaradhi. Udaradhi means very, very magnanimous personality because The wife Sunita was not fit to accept the benediction, but the king was very liberal. Without hesitation, he offered his wife the boiled, the payasam, prasad received from Yajna Purusha. And Prabhupada writes here, this incident was not very favorable for the king. Right? Yajna was there, Yajna Purusha appeared, gave, the Yajna was successful, handed over the payasam, but the recipient, Sunita, was not specifically qualified to receive this. And therefore, so what happened is something otherwise that we will see in the future verses. In order to increase the detachment from the material world, the Lord willed a cruel son to be born to the queen. Okay, this is the bhava meaning of the whole thing. The couple of things here. When some, some misfortune or some bad thing happens in our life, ashubha, then one understanding is, of course, it is coming because of my karma. Right? Tatenu kampasu shamikshmanu bhunjana e atmakritam vipakam. That is first understanding. And the second understanding is also that yes, it is the will of the Lord who is minimizing my karmic reactions. We should not directly go to the will of the Lord because we may not be able to handle that explanation. Then we may think, oh, I am a devotee. Why Lord is willing so bad in my life? No. Lord will never will any bad in anybody's life. What to speak of the devotee who is on the recovery mode. So, the misfortune is coming because of Atmakritam Vipakam. And that's what the sages have. The Sadasya Fateha Urchuhu. They say that previous life. And this goes on life after life, the cycle of Papa and Punya. But the second understanding should be, it is the reduced reaction by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada quotes, Dadami bhakti-yoga tam, that the Lord will arrange, the certain things to happen in one's life. The Lord will arrange the results of the karma, minimizing the results of negative karma, maximizing the results of positive karma in the life of a devotee in such a way that it will accelerate his journey back home, back to Godhead, and he can quickly come back home, back to Godhead. Right. Once a devotee, very nice devotee, but he was going through a bad phase and he said that, Prabhuji, I am a devotee and I have, why Krishna is, and then he showed some point that Prabhupada writes here that, the everything happens by the will of the Lord. So everything happens by the will of the Lord only for a pure devotee like the Pandavas. Struggling devotees like us, we are in the cycle. And the cycle is, the karma is reduced, negative karma is reduced, positive karma is maximized by the will of the Lord. So the karma aspect also one should not forget. Text 38. Sa tat pumsavanam radni prashavai patyuradade garbhakala upavritte kumaram subhishe praja. Translation.
Although the queen had no son, after eating that food, which had the power to produce a male child, she became pregnant by her husband, and in due course of time she gave birth to a son. Purport. Among the 10 kind of purificatory processes, one is Pumshavanam, in which the wife is offered some prasada, or remnants of foodstuffs offered to Lord Vishnu, so that after sensual intercourse with her husband she may conceive a child. Hare Krishna.
So the Pumsavan ceremony, Garbhadhan Samskar ceremony, and the queen Sunita, she was pregnant. Text 39. So again, around this, we have a devotee couple, very wonderfully acting in this area, acting in the sense very wonderfully active in this area, and they have a very wonderful books also. This is the couple Devdar family from Nasik, very qualified and practicing for many generations. Supraja, okay, for Supraja, good progeny. Text 39. Sabal eva purusho मातामह अनुव्रतः अधर्मं श उद्भवं मृत्युम Tena bhavat adharmikah. Translation.
That boy was born partially in the dynasty of irreligion. His grandfather was death personified, and the boy grew up as his follower. He became a greatly irreligious person. But the child's mother, Sunitha, was the daughter of death personified. Generally, the daughter receives the qualifications of her father, and the son acquires those of the mother. So, according to the axiomatic truth that things equal to the same thing are equal to one another, the child born of King Aṅga became the follower of his maternal grandfather. According to Smriti Shastra, a child generally follows the principles of his maternal uncle's house. Naranam Matula Karma means that a child generally follows the qualities of his maternal family. If the maternal family is very corrupt or sinful, the child, even though born of a good father, becomes a victim of the maternal family. According to Vedic civilization, therefore, before the marriage takes place, an account is taken of both the boys and girls' families. If, according to astrological calculation, the combination is perfect, then marriage takes place. Sometimes, however, there is a mistake and family life becomes frustrating. It appears that King Aṅga did not get a very good wife in Sunitha because she was the daughter of death personified. Sometimes the Lord arranges an unfortunate wife for his devotee so that gradually, due to family circumstances, the devotee becomes detached from his wife and home and makes progress in devotional life. It appears that by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Aṅga, although a pious devotee, got an unfortunate wife like Sunitha and later on a bad child like Vena, but the result was that he got complete freedom from the entanglement of family life and left home to go back home, back to God.
The boy was born partially in the dynasty of irreligion. Why partially? Because from the father's side, he was a great side coming from Dhruva's line. Father's side was great, but the mother's side was coming from, she was the daughter of death personified, Sunitha. Therefore, partially in the dynasty of irreligion. His grandfather was death personified from the mother's side, and the boy grew up as his follower. Whose follower? The grandfather's follower, who is a death personified, and he became greatly irreligious person. Right. Srila Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport here. Srila Prabhupada explains that the child's mother Sunitha was the daughter of death personified. Daughter inherits the qualities of the father, and that you can very easily see in children, right? Even the eating habits and uh, the food they like or the clothes they like, in general, daughter will have great influence of her father, and similarly son will have great influence of the mother, and son acquires the qualities of the mother. Now look at this. Daughter acquires, no, son acquires qualities of the mother, and the mother acquires qualities of her father. That means the son will acquire qualities of maternal grandfather, and daughter will acquire qualities of the other the paternal grandfather, right? Because the daughter will paternal grandmother. Okay, so this will be the combination. Now, in this case, Sunitha's father was a death personified, and Sunitha's son acquired the qualities of the mother, and the mother acquired the qualities of the father, and therefore Sunitha and Anga's son, Vena, he acquired qualities of death personified. And therefore, the child became really a deadly child. Srila Prabhupada said that's why it is very important to take into consideration the account of the boy and the girl before marriage. This is very important. Now, before marriage, one must match Kundali. And again, one has to be very careful also. Nowadays, so many mischievous things happen. Like, one very good person came to, I was discussing with, and the whatever the boys side or girls side parents, they told the other party, I'm just concealing some details, they told some other birth date only, which was not real birth date. See, the Kundali will work only when the birth details are true. And it is so amazing. I mean, just Mathematically, if you see, just 3 data points. Okay, that birth time, birthplace, and what is the third one? Birth date. Yeah, time, place, and date. And you can reasonably predict such X number of things about a person. What will be his nature, what will be his rashi, what his likings, dislikings, different colors coming into his life. And it is phenomenal. I mean, if you see from the modern data science perspective, it is nothing but a chamatkar. Eventually the world will understand that 3 inputs, and you have the literally unlimited outputs one gets. There are very good astrologers who talk about what will be one's career based on the child's birth details. Somebody told me that, Prabhuji, your Atma Karak Bhav is in finance. And I was wondering, oh my God, after PhD in chemical engineering and all that stuff. And then really I realized that, and then it took me a long time to come to finance. So, lot of things people can convey with just 3 data points. Look this from the mathematical point of view. Just 3 data points, 3 inputs, and phenomenal outputs. Even the modern times data models to be trained, we need large data, and they said larger the data you will have, the better the model. That is just mimicking the history, nothing else. Larger the data, better the model. Here, just 3 data points, but provided the data points are correct, right? So it is important to match the kundali. Now, if the marriage has already taken place without matching the kundali, leave it. You know what I mean? That is not the point. That after marriage we are trying to match the kundali. That is not the point. But then just take it as Krishna's arrangement and move on. But when it is while it's in our hands or for our kids and others, there should be a reasonable consultation with astrologer. Again, why reasonable? Because there are people who have the kind of vyasan means to go to one astrologer after another, and that should be avoided. And another thing is, astrology also will be revealed based on one's karma, right? So, and we also will accept the part of the astrology based on our karma. So, the astrology should not, uh, it should not lead to paralysis by analysis. It should lead to empowerment. It's very important. The astrology should lead to empowerment. If you are not able to handle the opinions, then better just visit a one person or a couple of people, get some good points, and move on. It should be empowering science, especially matching during some major things to happen, like want to purchase a house, or want to the son is going to be married, daughter is going to be married, some major critical decisions. One consult with a genuine astrologer is always a thing to do, without getting affected by, again, the opinion will come, decision we have to make, responsibility of the decision we have to make. But one should not be two extremes. I drink water by astrological calculation is one extreme. Another extreme is I don't believe in anything. No, Prabhupada writes in purports, right? This is Shastra. Jyotisha is Shastra. So, avoiding the extremes, one should take advantage of the astrology favorably in one's life. So, Prabhupada describes about, and then there is a bhava meaning that, yeah, that was Krishna's desire, that such a personality. Prabhupada said sometimes a bad wife or a bad husband is arranged so that one becomes detached from the married life, and one can actually progress on the path. And vice versa, if most of us who have good wife or good husband, that is Krishna's plan, right? Default plan is one will stay in the grihastha ashram and continue in the grihastha ashram. Sannyas is extremely rare in Kali Yuga. Okay. Text 40. We'll just take one more verse. शशरासनमुद्यम्य मृगयूवनगोचरः हन्त्य साधु मृगान् दीनान् वेणासौ इतरौ जनः.
Worker.
Translation.
After fixing his bow and arrows, the cruel boy used to go to the forest and unnecessarily kill innocent deer. As soon as he came, all the people would cry, "Here comes cruel Vena! Here comes cruel Vena!" Vena.
Yeah, please, translation.
Of
Kshatriya are allowed to hunt in the forest for the purpose of learning the killing art, not to killing animals for eating or for any other purpose. The Kshatriya kings were sometimes expected to cut off the head of a culprit in this state. For the reason the Kshatriya were allowed to hunt in this forest, because this son of King Aṅga, Vena, was born of a bad mother. He was very cruel, and he used to go to the forest and unnecessarily kill the animals. All these neglectful inhabitants would be frightened to his presence, and they would call, "Here comes Vena! Vena! Here comes to Vena!" So from the beginning of his life, he was for fuel to the citizens. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So after fixing his bows and arrows, the cruel boy used to go to the forest and unnecessarily kill the innocent deers. Right. So this was the Vena. He has acquired the qualities of death personified. And when citizens used to see Vena, they used to cry, "Vena, Vena has come, run away." And people used to run away from this extremely cruel boy. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Kshatriyas are allowed to kill the animals in the forest because they have to be get used to seeing the blood and the bloodshed. In the warfare, or sometimes giving the capital punishment, they are supposed to behead the other warriors, and they cannot be, they cannot just freeze looking at the man bleeding or something like that. And therefore the practicing ground was the forest, where the certain animals, going out of their control and disturbing the natural cycles of the forest life. Like currently, the cheetahs in Maharashtra, they are doing lot of biptas around. So government may allow some shooting of some of these tigers, and that was the case. That was the case in the previous times. But here, this Vena, he was the death personified, and he used to kill the animals indiscriminately in an extremely cruel way. And when the neighbors, inhabitants of that forest used to see, they used to run away from this Vena, saying that this, the sun, this Vena has come, run, run, Vena has come, like this. Next couple verses, because they have no translation, no purports. Text 41. आक्रीडे क्रीडता बालान् वयस्यान् अतिदारुणः प्रसय्य निरनुक्रोशः पशुमारन् अमारयत्. Translation.
The boy was so cruel that while playing with young boys of his age, he would kill them very mercilessly, as if they were animals meant for slaughter.
Yeah. So when he's playing with other children and anything went wrong with him, he used to just kill his playmates. So he used to just kill around. And that's how, just like Pashumarayat, just like the Pashu is being slaughtered, like that, he used to just butcher, like just imagine Vena is playing cricket and somebody is a bowler and somebody balls him and he goes out. उसका stump उड़ गया. Vena will take the stick and just behead that person. ऐसा ball क्यों डाला? Currently also, there are such deadly people who are there, especially this North Korean president. Such a deadly man, right? Once he saw his uncle yawning in a meeting. It was a late night meeting. And instantly he ordered him that, isko uda do. That. And many people were shot dead, many people were helicopter se fasi. They were hanged to the helicopter to the death, and the helicopter was moving along with the corpse. So such a death personified this person was, that even as a child he used to, only thing he was doing was just killing and butchering his friends around. Tam vichakshakalam putram shasanayir vividhair nirpaha yadana shasitum kalpo bhrishamasit sudurmanaha. Translation.
Translation: After seeing the cruel and merciless behavior of his son, Vena, King Aṅga punished him in different ways to reform him, but was unable to bring him to the path of gentleness. He thus became greatly aggrieved.
Yeah. Vena tried, Aṅga Maharaj has tried his best to reform this child, but he could not do so. By punishment, Samadama Danda Bheda, but Vena was Vena. Text 43. Prayena archito devo ye praja gruhamedinah kadapatya bhritam dukkham yena vidanti durbharam. Translation.
The king thought to himself, persons who have no son are certainly fortunate. They must have worshipped the Lord in their previous lives so that they would not have to suffer the unbearable unhappiness caused by bad son. Purport. It
Yeah.
is said that a married
No, there is no purport. Right. So the Vena, the king Aṅga thought to himself, better to have no son than having such a son as Vena. And those who are not having son, they are far more fortunate, and they must have worshipped the Supreme Lord in their previous life. Why previous life? Because Sadasya Pataya, they had said, it is because of your past life bad activity, the things have happened. And this is how Vena became Khinnaha, very, very morose, and he decided to leave the home. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you,
Jai.
Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare
everyone. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
Hare Hare. Yes, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
I mean, this section raising a lot of questions, but I'll try to restrict. So one thing is what is the scientific understanding of this thing where Prabhupada writes, if any, boys inherits the quality of mother side and vice versa. And other thing is like here King Aṅga leaving home, all that, detaching. So how do we take all this?
See, the one thing is, boy inheriting certain qualities is quite scientific. And when we talk of the qualities, we are talking of the base qualities, right? Again, samskarat bhavet dvija. The importance of samskara is such that even Mrugari can become a great saintly personality. So knowledge is always empowering. That is, the yahi jnanena sadrusham. Knowledge is always empowering. So when we come across the knowledge, we should come across the knowledge with the empowering perspective, with the growth mindset. Knowledge is always empowering. So yeah, some base qualities may be something like that, but by the virtue of devotional service, Vena, had no Hare Krishna Mahamantra maybe, right? So things can always be changed. So how the devotee approaches this? The devotee approaches this accordingly, that as far as possible, let me go by the Vedic way of life, as far as possible. But if the situation demands otherwise, or if something happens otherwise, then again try to apply the principles of devotional service to rectify the same thing. Correct?
Okay.
So it is empowering knowledge. Suddenly, that's why it is said that if one is, things have to be done at the right time, right age, and there are many successful. I will just go to the other part of the astrology. There are many ISKCON sannyasis whose chart read absolutely no sannyas order. But by the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, by the intervention of Guru, They became sannyasis. They lived the life of sannyas, and they departed from this world as a sannyasi, and leaving behind a great legacy. Although the chart read something else. So this is the classic example of karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhasham. There are many wonderful families in ISKCON who realized that yeah, some matchmaking वगैरह मतलब kundali match is there and other things, and I mean there was no match, and they had and they have a very wonderful amazing married life. So does it mean that kundali and everything is just a non-do? No, still we try to do. So the point is that we try to utilize the knowledge in our favor in execution of devotional service. We don't take the extreme position that kundali, all this jyotisha, it's all andhashraddha. No, it is not, and not to the another extreme that I mean the things which have already happened, and then we say, now the thing. No, not like that also. Neither the third extreme that everything we are doing. Should I make poha today or upma today, and then I'm looking for a the chart. That is also another way of. I mean, and people have gone through all those phases. And therefore, it is like, one should not be covered over. That is the beautiful definition. Anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. So these are basic decision makers, some helpful points here and there, but they should not avrit, they should not cover our devotional service. No X number of couples who have gone to too many astrologers and just became very morose in their life. Prabhuji, unhone aisa bola Prabhuji. And that is not the way to approach astrology. Correct?
Guruji, can I add something?
Please.
Actually, some scientific evidences are there in subject of biology that the grandson is having the qualities of a grandfather from maternal side. That is one trait is there that is called as a hypertrichosis, that is called as a hair on pinna or कान के ऊपर बाल रहना. So it is transferred, genetic history. It is transferred from the daughter to grandson, from grandfather. So that some mental aspects are also transferring, means genetically.
Wow, amazing. This is expert MD homeopathy. Okay. So these are, certain biological and, the medicine science backing. What was the next? By the way, officially class is over. Huh? I mean, we are just Sunday hai, so we are just going little bit here and there.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful answer. But yeah, the next question was like, King Aṅga leaving, right? So of course he tried, So like I know that it is not possible, it is not recommended, So he's leaving the responsibility. He tried his best and then he left it suddenly.
Yeah. So that was that was the different age was there. Na? So in our age, there is no question of leaving the house. Bhagavatam, if we come to the 7th canto, and then there is an entire description of how to live in a vanaprastha ashram. And this is not for, this age of Kali Yuga. And it is not for at least this age of this Kali Yuga. Okay. So there is no question of leaving the house. It is, what is leaving the house means? Leaving the house in a sense means, that we change our personality, change our traits, and just make the things as favorable as possible. And frankly, we have seen some devotees. We had one amazing devotee. Recently, Prabhuji passed away. Aged, of course, he passed away at the age of 85. And he led such a, concealing the name, he led such a, life where, the family members were absolutely not supportive. Absolutely not supportive. The wife used to cook non-veg in the house, and he was a Brahmin initiated devotee for 40 years. And the son was not a bad guy or, very materialistic man. He had his 4 dogs in the house, wife cooking non-veg. And they said that, yeah, jo aapko karna hai, wo karo. He was the only earning member in the family. It is not that, that he was doing a job, he was the earning member in the family. They became devotees after marriage. So marriage happened before they becoming devotees. And, just imagine 4 dogs in the house and all some ferocious dogs. Of course, nothing against dogs. The point is, his case was it was very difficult. And then, the wife cooking non-vegetarian on the same gas, same chula. Some other items will be made for him. Matlab, एक side some non-veg item is being cooked, another side khichdi is cooked for him. Just imagine. And then he used to do whatever is cooked for him. He will do offering. He used to get up way early in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, go to the temple, attend morning program. After the retirement, he was much more in the temple. But he never left home in a way, because what one will do, even practical arrangement, what one is going to do, leaving home, where we'll go, right? And so he said that he was very jovial person. He said that, Prabhuji, my house is only my forest. What explanation? He said that I'm already in the forest. Vanaprastha. I already have the animals in the forest. So I'm already doing tapasya. The classic. That's how it is, right? So philosophy is empowering, right? And there is no sannyas also. Frankly, in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to take sannyas and maintain sannyas. And neither ISKCON will give sannyas also. Early years, ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada gave sannyas because that was the necessity of the mission. Sannyas was literally given, like Jayapataka Swami was sannyasi at the age of 19. 19 means, 12th standard boy is 19. Our Neeraj must be 18, 19 now. So this is the age he became sannyasi. Mission, and Prabhupada saw him differently, and mission requirement was there. But now sannyasi is after 60, and there are so many criteria for becoming a sannyasi. And so, and Prabhupada says also that that is not required also. Correct?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anything else?
Prabhuji,
Not
little technical question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this, like we say Vedic culture, they used to have this names based on the personality. Now the name of his wife was Sunita, and in Dhruva Charitra we read that her name was Suniti. So she was possessing the qualities of Shastrik. Like,
Suniti, Suruchi. Yeah, but Sunitha was given by Adharma father, na? So there was a cheating itself.
and the death personified should be Yamraj.
Uh, Death personified here is used from the perspective of he was a very cruel person, looking like a death personified. Yamaraj is
Okay.
not death personified. Death personified is, yad bibheti swayam bhayam. That is death personified. Okay.
Mrithyudeva.
Yamaraj is Mrityudeva. He controls the Mrityu. He is a pure devotee.
Okay, Prabhu.
Right.
And Prabhuji, you said we have
Yes.
to consult astrology when purchasing house and something. So, like in the buildings, it's a very different. Uh, like we have to go for the basics only, or we have to.
Basics only. Again, very, very basics. And it is not a must thing. Like, it is not that Sagurum meva abhigachet. It is not that one has to. It is not like approaching a spiritual master or accepting spiritual master. It is just a recommended thing. Just see. I mean, that's what I do personally. If I want to buy a new house, I will see, is there a Graha Yoga in that particular period? Is there a Vahana Yoga in that particular period? Because there are such periods. And if you come across a good astrologer, the one can reasonably tell. And it is not that one has to pay some lakhs of rupees for such advice. Simple. I mean, somebody, there are many genuine people around, and many wonderful devotees are taking up this as a, not exactly as a profession, but just other side activity. And they, I mean, they can help us in some wonderful way. There are many wonderful devotees. I can count 10 of them. We have our Sakhwalkar Mataji in Pimpri Chinchwad area. We have our Krishna Kishore Prabhu, the veteran devotee. We have, the Prahlad Nath Prabhu is also very good astrologer, very good in astrology. Then we have our, the another devotee is I'm just missing out the name. It's tip of my tongue. But Sarvatma Prabhu's counsel, one devotee. He has a good astrologer channel also. So what is the name? Just one second. So he is one personality, who are like so not putting anyone here, but the point here is that some basic small advice, and then things are more favorable. See, what we are looking for is favorable time, favorable place, so that things happen very quickly.
Okay, Praveen.
If
Thank you, Praveen.
if the like wife is after somebody that चाहिए मुझे car, and if the astrologer says नहीं आपका वाहन योग नहीं है, of course we'll go ahead and buy a car.
Yes, Praveen.
So that way, applying astrology judiciously. Similarly, Vastu also, you just see basic things. That kitchen is in Agneya, the house opening is, not into the south, and some two, three more points here and there. The bathroom should not be at the Agneya, which is like abject contrast. Agni ke sthan par pani. And, basic things here and there. And nowadays, builders, architect, they themselves are planning Vastu compliant, the plans. Otherwise, they will not. I mean, it is not for their appreciation of Veda or anything. It's pure market requirement. Nowadays, people are conscious of Vastu, so people are building Vastu compliant. Basic awareness. Not that we are अपने जीवन का डोर एस्ट्रोलॉजर के हाथ में नहीं, but at least not to another extreme that nothing matters and nothing works and that kind of a thing, right. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Padma, Tarun also.